What's up, guys? This is Chris here, and today we're going to be talking about something that's personal to me. We're going to be going over my home defense gun, particularly what it used to be and what it is now, because I actually changed it very recently for a specific set of circumstances. I don't know if they'll apply to you, but they should be interesting to watch nonetheless. Now, before we get into the rifle I'm using currently, let's get into the rifle that I was using. So this here is my custom BCM 300 Blackout, and this has been my home defense gun for some time now. This is an SBR, and on the lower is a 2.8 Armament SBR lower, which I've had for a long time, and then the upper is a BCM receiver with a BCM 9-inch 300 Blackout barrel. Very versatile, very useful, very lightweight and easy to use, and it has a huge amount of perks as a home defense gun, and is certainly one of the best that you can use. I have it outfitted with an Omega 9K, which with the 9-inch barrel can be used with super or subsonic, which I do use both with this rifle, and we'll get into more of that here in a second. Before that, though, I'll talk about some of the accessories I have on the gun. We have the Surefire Scout Light with the pressure pad. Then we have a T-Rex Arms like sling capture thing, so when I use the sling outside, I can put a sling on it and then I can wrap it in there with no big problem. Vert grip from BCM on there, which I cut off with a chop saw. If you're gonna chop these, make sure you chop them with like a metal chop saw and not like a wood blade, because it'll just splinter them. Ask me how I know that. On the rail system here is not a BCM rail. I actually switched this out for a V7s. I wanted this gun as lightweight as possible, and I'll get into that here in a second. But very, very lightweight. The barrel itself is very, very lightweight. And then we do have an SLR steel adjustable gas block. The receiver itself, again, is a BCM, and the internal parts of this is actually a JP. So it's kind of a mutt of a rifle, to be honest with you. But all of these parts serve a purpose. So the JP innards, not only are they lightweight because it's a low mass carrier, but I've personally found excellent reliability with these and excellent lubricity. That's really important. The coating on it is awesome. So even when this gun's really dirty, it runs super, super nice. Very, very few malfunctions with this. All of them were with subsonic S&B ammo, which we'll get to here in a minute, but the JP system runs extremely well. The lower itself I really like because the 2A Armament lowers are reliable, they're durable, but they are lighter weight than a standard receiver, and I also had this SBR already, so it's kind of a perfect fit, right? Geisley 2-stage trigger in there. We have a 45-degree safety with the Magpul XL grip, BCM stock, and then a Radian charging handle. Magpul flip-up sights are only flipped up right now because I stole the optic from this and put it on a new one because it's an aimpoint D2 and they're fucking expensive. Now, why did I choose this rifle to begin with? Well, first off, 300 Blackout is very, very useful in a lot of situations. 300 Blackout Supersonic is sort of like an AK round, to be honest with you. It's sort of like 7.62 x 39, where it hits pretty hard, but it's gonna be supersonic, so I think because of that, it's gonna do a lot more damage. We'll see. That is yes. There we go. Now that's what you want right there. It's a big bullet moving a little bit slower than 5.56, but it does good damage. And 300 Blackout does supersonic and subsonic. So if you want a gun, let's say like me, where I have raccoons and coyotes and shit all the time, and I want a gun that I can shoot really quickly without needing ear pro or anything like that, I can throw subsonic self-defense ammunition in this and take care of critters. And then when I use this for a home defense gun, I can tap in that Hornady supersonic, and you can actually get some really good ballistics out of this. So very versatile gun. If you're only gonna have one gun and you need it to do both roles, it's a good one. Now, people would say 300 Blackout has limited range, and it absolutely does, but for a home defense gun, unless you live in Trump Tower, you're gonna only need about 25 yards traditionally. This you can push out very accurately with supersonics out to 100 to 150 yards. We'll take her out to 100 yards here. It's about as far as I'll ever shoot this gun, especially offhand, so. So if I need to hit a yoke going toward my dogs or something like that, I can do it with this, although the range is limited by comparison to 5.56. So that's why I went with the 300 Blackout initially. I like the fact that I had the Omega 9K and that it can run both, because I have a lot of ear problems. So if I'm gonna shoot inside a house, I would prefer it to be quieter. So I do run a suppressor, and it does help you with situational awareness as well. The reason why I went with the Surefire Scout is because I like the pressure pad, I like the durability, the reliability, and they are pretty much available everywhere I go. The Geissele trigger is pretty awesome, and it's one of the most reliable triggers you can have without sacrificing any trigger pull. It's a very light trigger, but it's very reliable. And then the Radiant 45-degree throw, I absolutely love. I have those on all my guns. Same with the XL grip, and same with the BCM stock if I can get it. I like universality, I guess if that's a word, with my accessories, because I like to be able to pick the gun up and know it's going to do it, know what it needs right away. If you're in a home defense situation, there's a solid chance it's going to be at night in the dark and we fumbling around with stupid shit. So the thing that you use for home defense should be the thing that you use the most. It should be just like if you go to a USPSA match or anything like that, you don't want to be worried about how your gear works. You want to know how your gear works. You want to know how to shoot the gun. You want to be able to draw the gun that dies there. You don't want to deal with any of that bullshit, because when you actually go to a match, or if you're, God forbid, you're in a real gunfight, you have to worry about situational stuff. People moving, things changing, environments changing, ducking up and down underneath cover, and all kinds of crazy stuff, let alone in your house. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have your wife, you have to worry about those, maybe you're carrying a kid. A lot of things to consider other than operating the gun. The gun should be intuitive. So all my accessories when it comes to serious use are intuitive. Now I did change this, and I'll tell you why. Over the past few years, we've been testing 300 Blackout pretty consistently. And I would argue, and this is just my personal experience, and since this is my personal rifle, I use my personal experience. I feel like even the most reliable 300 Blackout offerings are not as reliable as 5.56. And there is a lot more data on stoppages with 5.56 as well. To be honest with you, the performance of 5.56 is just a little bit better in my personal opinion. The Supersonic 300 Blackout is very, very good, but I think 5.56 is a little better, and I can also shoot 5.56 faster and more accurately than I can 300 Blackout. But the main reason why I switched it out is because now I'm just using two guns. This one's actually going to be in a stronghold room, and the other one is actually going to be our household gun. So technically I'm not phasing this out completely. It is just going to be a secondary. That way I still have a gun loaded with subsonics, so if I hear a bunch of bullshit at night and a bunch of stuff getting knocked over and I need to smoke a raccoon or I need to smoke a coyote, I still have a gun right there that I can use it for. It is just going to be a secondary gun loaded with subsonics, and it's just going to be like a critter gun right now. Not saying that you couldn't use subsonic 300 Blackout as a self-defense weapon, because it would definitely work. It's not as good as Super 5.56, but it is on par with a hollow point from a 45, and 45 has smoked a lot of others. So it can still definitely work, but this other one, I'm gonna err on the side of my primary. Now this one I have set up slightly differently. This is a BCM full stock. This is not a build. This is the rifle they sent me for review, and we already have 700 rounds through this. I feel pretty comfortable with it. This is the fifth one of these I've had, BCM 11.5 5.56. I feel super comfortable with this gun. I wanted a stock rifle. I wanted something where nothing rattles off. I wanted something that I could count on, and this is just what I went with because this is what I'm used to. Now this one's still a pistol. It will get SBR'd here eventually, and I have it set up a little bit differently. So using Hornady Supersonic for the 300 Blackout for self-defense ammunition. Now I'm just using subs for critters. This one I am rocking SIG 77 grain, and then I also have a few mags of Hornady 77 grain. I like 77 grain for self-defense and home defense because it just seems to hit harder and it just seems to do more damage than ballistics gel. And at least from all the people that I've watched videos on that have shot people with 77 grain in real life, it works very, very well. Kevin Owens over on Grand Thumb's videos, GBRS group, all those guys are huge fans of 77 grain, so that's what I use. Now, the gun itself, this one, I bet you, is just going to be more reliable and durable long term because this one has a fixed gas block as opposed to an adjustable. Sometimes I have problems with adjustable gas blocks. I like them for 300 Blackout because you go from sub to super, but I prefer for a self-defense rifle to sacrifice a little bit of adjustability for reliability. I went with this one because of the fixed gas block. I also went with this because I like 5.56 a little more, and I think the 11.5 is the best 5.56 that you can get for me personally. It has enough length to get good ballistics out to 150 yards. But particularly, it's more reliable and less hard on parts because it has an extra inch of dwell time over a 10.5 because they both run the carbine length gas system, and you just get a little more length past the gas system, and that just helps with reliability and long-term durability. Now, since it's a pistol, I have to set it up a little bit differently, and we have a emissary handbrake. I like this a lot because it's pert near a vert grip, but it's legal on a pistol, which I like. Now, I have the light set up on the other side because I have more rail on this side. I have the light set up on the other side because this is a shorter rail. It's a 9-inch rail, whereas this one is a 10.5. So I have an 1.5 inch extra grip, so I can have the light on the left side now. So if I want to run it with the pressure pad, I can. If I just want to press the button, I can also do that. Now, this one's zip tied on because the pressure pads, if you run them, fall off all the time, and be aware that sometimes they break and shit like that. So I do like this pressure pad because I have the option to go with just pushing the button as well. I'm running a Huxworks 762 on here because my 5.56 I use for reviews all the time, and for another reason, which I'll get into here in a second. But this just suppressor I don't use that much, so I can keep it on this gun and I can keep it zeroed all the time. And with a home defense gun, I like to keep it as is all the time, loaded, ready to go. Now we have some rail covers here, and then we have kind of the star of the show, I guess, is the Aimpoint T2. Most reliable, durable optic I've literally ever tried. And then because I sacrificed a lot of rail space with my iron sights, I actually like to go with the Unity mounts lately because they have included iron sights. So they have co-witness iron sights underneath the optic. And the Unity puts the optic pretty high. I think it's like 2.5 or something like that. 2.05, I don't remember what it is, but it's higher than even a 193 that I usually use on ScalarWorks. And I like that for close range because I don't have to duck my head down or turtle. I can bring the gun right up to it and I can shoot really, really quickly with these. And this is a very close range gun, so that's what I'm using it for. Now, BCM from Wisconsin, you guys know if you watch any of my videos, my favorite AR maker, and I think they're the most reliable guns that I've ever tried, let alone good for the money, so I would recommend them 100%. And other than the accessories that I put on this, it was 100% stock. Now, on the back of the gun, we again have the XL grip, and I will have a Radian charging handle here shortly, and then I am running the SBA5, which is a brand new brace, which the ATF is already fucking around with, and I hope they just leave my shit alone. Overall, I think this is a really good gun, a really good setup. I'm a little bit happier because of the stock gun. I'm a little bit happier because it's 5.56, although I'm still keeping the other one anyway. But the real reason why we're switching this out is because we moved to a new house with different colored walls, and my wife is a stickler for color. So she asked me if we could stop running the tan rifle because it looked weird. She asked me if we could run a all black one, so I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. It gives me an excuse to not only switch to 5.56, but to build out an entire new rifle, which, gotta say, I really love. Now, the other reason is because we moved from 2 acres to 55 acres, and 5.56 allows me a lot more range and distance in case I need that for critter use, so this is helpful as well. The other reason why I'm not running iron sights is because I have a flip-up magnifier that I have on here. In case I see a bunch of coyotes out in the distance messing around, I can hit them from 200 or even 300 yards away with the magnifier setup very, very easily. I'm a big fan of this setup. Obviously, I'm kind of running a 2-gun setup now. I actually have a pistol as well, which we'll do on a video later. The reason why I have these is basically escalations of force, right? If I hear a bunch of bullshit downstairs and I'm not really sure what it is, I can grab the handgun, kind of stuff it and see what's going on. If I know that there's a serious issue and I hear the door crash or a window break or something like that, grab this bitch, get ready to go, put my wife in the other room, have her call 911. She can run this, I can run that, and tag team the shit out of them. This is just a rundown of what I use. This is not a recommendation by any means. This is just what I use. This is what I like. And if you guys like that, that's cool. If you like something else, make sure to put that in the comment section. There are so many good guns, so many good calibers. If you run a Krink and 7.62 by 39, I respect that. If you run a Scar 17 CQB with a 12-inch barrel, that's pretty cool too. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please support your Oklahoma shelters and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.